Okay, what do we got?
Elevate Academy Subdivision Development Agreement.
Where's that?
Off
It
of
is
Lincoln.
behind the Lincoln Alternative School off Lincoln.
Is that where they're looking at a school?
This is the school.
Yeah,
This is
the-
Elevate Academy.
Charter school?
Remember,
Yeah, so it'll be, it's just, the school owns, the D93 owns that whole parcel, just under 10 acres, and they're just splitting it and selling the other portion of it to this other group to put another school out there, so.
like a year and a half ago, that school group came and talked to us that was focused more on trades and stuff like that, that they train firefighters and have a bunch of different trades, construction, it's them.
It's them.
Yeah, so they found some ground. I think it'll be a really good thing.
I don't know about firefighters, you know, they sometimes don't grow up to be.
True.
Probably wanna use a different pen to sign that.
Believe it or not.
Came prepared.
And those Mylar pens on regular paper.
Bleed through.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, the worst ones are the, getting the, what's the stamp called on there?
Okay. Good luck with it.
Yeah,
Can you?
yep, it'll be good, look forward to it.
That's Christensen Circle, Telford Park.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the improvement.
All right, and then do you guys have a copy of this then, already scanned in, or?
No, we don't have a copy of
Okay.
this guy's scan, but we can get it off the
Eagle
recorders.
Oh, okay, so we'll get, yeah, so I'll, yeah, basically the plat, development agreement, and drawings will all be recorded then.
Yeah.
The findings of fact, for the Telford Park
Running out.
vacations
Get it done right now, so.
last week.
All right, thank you guys, appreciate it.
I have the official one here.
Oh, you did?
To sign.
See ya.
Okay, I had some questions on that. Austin was gonna bring up the map, so it talks about in the findings of facts that the county officially accepted the dedication of the road, right? And
Of Haroldson.
Harrelson, is that the one it was?
Yeah, that's the one up front.
Yeah. Formally accepted the dedication of Christensen Circle and public utility easements.
So we did with the plat, right?
Right, with the plat, that's. Okay,
With the plat, we officially accepted it as a road, and this vacation is taking Christensen Circle out.
okay,
But
okay,
Haroldson still stays.
okay,
It almost has to because it provides access to the building that's there. And that's one we were maintaining when it was a gravel road, I think.
Yeah.
This doesn't deal then at all with the questions that came up about who pays for the
No,
road
it does
improvements
not.
and all of that.
No, that'll have to take place when they do either a commercial site plan or try to get a building permit or something else.
So
Yeah,
this'll
and we
take out
issued the
that.
building permit
Okay.
without the improvements, but I think that was because at the time, they probably did have road frontage on the end of that or something.
Right.
So
all
but they
this
know that
does
they
then
have to
is take out
participate.
This,
Yes,
correct, all of that. Yes.
Should be okay.
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we approve the findings.
I second that, all signatures on this.
You want this one, or this one, that was one sign it?
It's my my memory is serving me correctly, I think they're combining, well, they're doing that into one lot, and then I think Simplot's doing something there, is that right?
I haven't heard the name of
Oh,
what's
really?
going.
Simplot
Yeah.
is as well? Really?
Yeah, that's what comes to the top of my
They
head.
kind of discussed combining it into one lot, you know, vacating the subdivision in Christensen Circle, making it one lot, but I never heard
Yeah, I think
who they're
it's,
actually
I
trying
think
to do.
Simplot wants to build something there, if I'm remembering
Is
right.
that
False
one?
fertilizer is.
Yeah, is that the?
Is it false
Clayton's or false
fertilizer?
fertilizer.
Maybe it is false
Yeah,
fertilizer
it's not
then.
Simplot,
It
it's
is
false
false
fertilizer.
fertilizer, you're
Yeah.
right.
One that might be displaced if the. state
Yes.
goes the other way.
Yes.
So is their current building, Fall's current building gonna stay, or are they moving, do you know?
They're gonna stay, they'll have both of them, so they'll kind of run the ag deal out of one and more of the lawn and garden stuff out of the other.
That'll be nice, that's where I get my fertilizer, that's a little closer to home.
Yeah.
Except this is pretty close to
It
work.
sounds like
so
they're doing a lot of yard stuff,
They have been, it's busy when I go out there recently, so.
yeah.
Is the fertilizer less expensive or something?
Less expensive and it's more made for our soil and ground than if you just go to Home Depot or
Yeah, it is.
Costco or whatever and buy
They do a
stuff. They
custom
put iron
blend
in
there.
it. And
Yeah,
yeah, I bought a 50-pound bag last night and it was like $38 or something. It's pretty affordable.
yeah,
Do they have humus?
They might, I don't know.
they do, yeah.
But yeah, all you have to do is just drive out to their store and you can walk right in and just say, hey, this is what I need. And they'll just, you pay for it and they throw it in the back of your truck for you and you're off.
And that's over here?
It's over there by across from the old Pillsbury grain elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah, or back behind them, I
Yeah, the
mean,
one they're looking at
yeah,
possibly being displaced.
yeah.
So,
Have you heard any progress on that? What they're looking at on that?
No, it is still looking at the overall EPA look at it, and Federal Highways is still looking at it, and they haven't totally gone off on it, so haven't not heard any new information.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. I went up and took down the trail markers on that went around the Dugway on 115. Took a few pictures of the Dugway.
What did the
letting
trail
people
look
in there?
like?
What's
Anybody
that?
use it?
Yeah, they used it in spots. It was, compacted, still icy.
Are you letting people in there?
No,
Okay, I was gonna say, boy, that wasn't about to dry down there.
No, the
Yeah.
pictures that are in there that got towed, so.
You think they'll still, so the gates are still closed?
so the gates are
Okay.
still closed, yes.
Normal for
Holy
truck
crap.
to. Who's pickup?
We don't know.
Is
He
that
was
on the
supposed to be
Dugway?
towed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be towed.
Oops.
let me see that.
Is that yours?
No, wish it was. It would have been fun.
Yeah, so we're gonna get it out of the impound.
So, did the trail going around the Dugway, did it help when they went to plow? Was it less compacted or?
I don't
No, I
think
don't
so.
think so, not at
Yeah.
all.
I don't think it would help at all.
That's too bad.
It's like Lance was saying, until they can, work that hill back and get to where it doesn't drift there as much.
Some of the other pictures there are off the end of 115th, I think. And one of them, I think the one that Commissioner Walker is looking at is headed down into Blacktail Reservoir.
That's just recent.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Wow.
We're gonna date all of these so it's written on them, what day it was
Well,
taken.
they've got some metadata with the cameras that took them, so. But yeah, it's,
Cars parked like the truck.
Yeah,
and that's on 115th, just up by Foster's Cellars, which I don't know why you'd ever take a car
Well,
like that on.
we were
on there.
about stuck in the four-wheel drive pickup pulling the trailer at night
Your gate was open, so they were able
This
to
is
drive
before
it?
the gate.
before the gate.
How'd they get
oh,
around?
before the gate.
This is before the gate, before you
Oh,
get up to the gate.
this is before the gate?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how bad Foster's
Wow.
had tore up that road getting up to their cellars. on the open portion of the road.
Oh, it's off to the side in that one.
That's a grader.
Yeah, that's the top of the grader.
That's the top of the road
A
grader.
dang silly place to leave your grader.
It wasn't left there.
Jeez.
Where's the one going into Foster's?
This is the one going into Foster's, that car, that's the 115th right before Foster's turn on.
Where did you say this one is?
That's on 115th.
It's like my driveway, only my driveway's not that wide.
Almost to the top of the Dugway.
And that's,
So they went back in there to,
Sort of.
they were opening it, but they went back in to get the trail markers off.
Before you get to
So
the
that's
gate.
behind the
So that's
closed
all
portion of it, but that's how much snow is there.
wow, but this is the portion of the road before the gate. It's been improved.
It's been improved, yeah, oh yeah. This is the portion that's open all year round.
So you can imagine what the rest would be like if they
Yeah,
driving around, well, we saw.
How deep that is on that grader,
Driving trucks in there.
yeah.
It's crazy.
the end of April, wow.
I don't think they're gonna complain much this year about the delay, cause they wouldn't be able to get in there.
He already has.
Has he?
Yeah, he already has.
Tell him Brian's the only one that trying always to control the snow, so. He's closer than we are. And then you can get all the phone calls.
Easy out, right? You can probably get close to having those spuds hauled, but well, probably not.
That's what I was
Weeks.
gonna say, with a year like this, they're gonna have the spuds hauled out of there anyway.
Yeah.
However they have to do it.
So,
Back to
is it
Grand
just
Island.
winter
yeah.
wheat that is already in the ground and coming up?
Well, they're gonna have a lot of snow mold.
Yeah, well, there's a green haze on a couple of, coming across the flats
Is there?
this morning.
You can see
Yeah,
it coming
never seen that
I
yet
know-
this year.
I know they're really worried about snow mold on that. You probably are well more aware of that.
Yeah.
I've never dealt with it.
Yeah, but when we had out on the church farm, they planted fall wheat. Of course, I think it didn't pile up as much out there, because the wind kept blowing it out in the fields. I don't know what did you have any fall wheat?
No, we don't have any.
You getting your other stuff planted?
They're starting today.
I was gonna say you were optimistic when I saw that downpour.
Yeah. They're starting today.
Hopefully starting today.
Oh,
right?
well, yeah. I talked to him a half hour ago and he said it's too wet. But he said we're starting. He said it'll still be wet a week from now.
In the 70s on Sundays, so, isn't it?
That's what the projection is, if you believe that weatherman. Look
It's
at
supposed
another
to be
one,
like
that'll be different.
60 this weekend up in Island Park, which will be
Yeah.
interesting to see what happens with
Good
all the
weather
snow
coming.
up there.
They'll have a lot of flooding up there too.
I'm sure.
We've got some ground pretty good up there, so porous.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So you asked me about HK and how much we're expecting.
Yeah.
So HK is expecting to have spent or billed for roughly $10 million by the end of September.
That's what you were kind of guesstimating. anyway.
Pretty close, yeah. And so there'll probably be $10 million there, with the construction engineering. I expect another close to $1 million.
So if we open it for 12, that should
So
cover
there's
it.
two different line items, but one is the capital item, one is the engineering.
So if you put probably 11 in the capital, because the engineering's gonna be a closer estimate, then in case they get a hit,
Yeah,
if the weather's real nice.
and that probably will be pretty close. So $1 million in the engineering inspection and
How are they
11.
coming on the part around the hatch?
they're coming, all the trees are gone. The pipe is going in, if not done already. But Alan Hatch is, of course, upset about everything. And if he hasn't contacted you, in this email to, well, this is from JV to me, he's threatening to come visit with us or you.
maybe it's just go to our attorney now, or
Well, yeah, I mean, where this has started, he can visit with you, but not us.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, I mean, that, JB kind of was just trying to answer the questions that he has, but it's not gonna go anywhere. Alvin Hatch thinks he's being mistreated, so,
Could you see who's handling that, Weston?
yes,
Could you forward this?
I can send it to Weston, yeah.
Okay.
On Iona Road, he will ask for a cost of construction estimate on Iona Road too. It is looking about $8 million for construction and construction engineering and inspection for that 1 mile.
Which 1 mile?
It's between Ammon Road and 45th East.
Okay, does that include the bridge?
That includes 2 bridges.
And the railroad crossing.
Yeah, the little bridge doesn't.
It goes across the railroad too, but the little bridge is less inexpensive, but the bigger bridge,
That goes across the railroad.
It shouldn't.
well,
should.
the bridge, there's a railroad crossing through that mile stretch.
Where?
Between First and, or between Ammon and.
Between Ammon and 45th, there's a railroad north-south through there.
Yeah, but it doesn't cross Iona Road.
Oh, but it's, I mean, it's
Yeah,
right there.
it's in the vicinity, but it doesn't cross Iona Road.
So it doesn't affect our,
It shouldn't affect the road.
project.
No. So that cost estimate does not include right of way. And they're working on getting that, and hopefully within the next few days, I'll get a rough estimate of the right of way cost and how many parcels.
so for future projects, we could probably estimate nine.
Hopefully it would be 9 would cover us for the Iona Road portion. Then the other portion that we talked about having designed was the Ammon Road widening. That engineering estimate was about 1.3, 1.4 million.
Yeah, see, and that's why if you get those options,
Yeah,
until you get enough reserves. Depends on how we come out on 45th and when we reevaluate our reserves.
yeah.
And at least we know where we can kind of set next to get going and focused.
The signal, the span wire signal up at 49th North is probably roughly about 750 to 800,000.
49th north.
25th East, 49th North.
Oh, yeah, back out the other way.
Well, it's there above that truck stop, and then above where the state is doing the improvements there at Hit Road and the Highway 26. It's that next, it's the
next
four-way,
intersection.
it's the four-way stop controlled intersection right now.
Got a piece of scrap paper.
The months.
I'm getting enough of these that I'll remember most of them, but okay, so
Iona, construction engineering and construction costs are roughly 8 million.
that's right away.
Right away costs, that's what I'm working on.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll have a better idea by next Wednesday.
Yeah, because we shouldn't have a ton of right of way along there where those subdivisions.
Most of the way, it's on that further east portion of it that hasn't been in subdivisions that we're gonna have to acquire some right of way.
So Ammon is 1 point.
Ammon Road was about 1.3, 1.2, 1.3 million estimate.
So 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
That does not include construction, engineering, inspection, which will probably be about 20% of that cost. So
So
250,
2 million total.
yeah, probably close to that. The signal on 25th East construction costs about 800,000. So construction engineering is another probably 200,000 on top of that.
So that's $1 million. Okay. And the project on County Line Road, how much per mile?
So when we looked at just widening out portions of it and covering over it, it was over $1 million a mile. For the problem that we have now on it, it's probably gonna be over that because we're gonna have to rebuild and rebase a good portion of it.
So,
I'd say between $1.5 million and $2 million a mile.
How many miles?
four, well,
There's
more
a-
than four, but four's critical. But
There's at
two are
least
the worst.
4 that are the worst.
Million per mile.
Sounds like you're gonna have a big
One
budget
point
this
five
year.
million, maybe.
Oh, these won't all be this year. We're just trying to set
Yeah, I was gonna say these, yeah.
see where
Yeah, it
we are.
won't all happen this year, but it's just, yeah. And, I mean, going along the same lines, we wanna try to get that transportation plan, kinda, I don't know whether it's by resolution or what, to kinda agree to accept it.
We're talking about the high-density traffic study.
No, we're talking about the Bonneville County Transportation Plan that
Yeah.
you've been
To have
reviewing.
one of those to have LTAC look at you seriously.
We get
Get
more
extra points.
points, yeah. But, that's what you've reviewed. We gave the last chapter to you to review again. I'd like to try to get it, and again, I don't know whether it's by resolution or what, so.
I don't either.
I don't either, and it's, you know, it's so technical, a lot of it, that
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of input on it. I
It
mean,
could be just a minute entry, you know.
And if it's a minute entry to approve it, then.
I would say we do it that way.
Okay.
And, yeah, I
Okay.
had nothing, no
Let's,
problem with it.
I'll get with Kate and we'll get it on the agenda maybe for next Wednesday to do that as a minute entry then.
Okay.
I was gonna give this back to you. I don't know if you read the second page. In general, Alvin was very upset and stated multiple times that the only way he could see to be made whole was to get a lawyer involved.
Okay.
He said he is friends with all 3 county commissioners and would be in touch with them to see what can be done.
That's why I wanted to give you the heads up.
So I think, yeah, if he calls anything for the 3 of us, we should say,
Call Weston.
No, do I know him?
Apparently,
You're
We're
good friends with
friends.
him.
We're good friends.
Alden's good friends with everybody. You talk to him.
I got a meeting at 10:30 I gotta run over to, but I got a call from, and I think you've talked to him before, Lance Lindsay Sewell. So he lives out here on 25th. This is his house here. Anyways, he was talking about his concerns with basically the traffic all along that road, and that it's not a double striped road, so that people are always passing, and he's seen 3 accidents in front of his house. Feels like it's a safety concern. I think he's talked to you about it before.
So they just turned in, I think his wife turned in a traffic control request.
Yeah,
Where,
To get
where
it.
is that? How,
It's north of Highway 26.
Yeah. so 26
It's in between
is
26 and Highway 20.
down there, and his house is basically right here where I just selected.
so that's before where you're looking at putting the signal?
No,
Okay, yeah,
the signal was down at 49th North, so it's further south than there.
okay.
So anyways, he just wanted to know, and maybe she submitted a request if it was even a possibility to double stripe and do single
this year where
striping
we-
at the road,
yeah.
at the driveway entrances, just for safety reasons, but.
This year, we can probably go ahead and double stripe it.
Okay.
Last year, they turned in the request after it had already been striped.
Okay,
And I didn't feel like we could go back and redo it after we just done it.
yeah,
So this year, I think we could probably just have our crews double stripe it. It does cause issues with people wanting to turn left across that double yellow. And they could possibly get a ticket from a police officer if they're holding up traffic.
waiting to
Waiting to
turn
turn
the
left.
driveway.
It's like, and that's what I told him, it's like, if we double stripe this, if you're holding up traffic to wait to turn left, you
Yeah,
can
but
get a
that's-
ticket.
That's
Well,
kind of
when
an
I've
issue
seen
we had on
officers write a
Sunnyside
ticket for
before
somebody
we
holding
widened
up
it.
traffic.
And they went ahead and double striped it all the way.
And he told me, he's like, I understand that concern, I know him pretty well, he's one of my doctors that I go to, but he's like, I understand that concern. He just said that they just feel like from an overall safety standpoint, it would be a lot safer on that stretch of road if people weren't passing and blowing by people all the time, which people will probably still do it anyways.
Yeah,
But I think if it's double striped, then at least
If it's double
enforcement
stripe, then you don't
wise,
have somebody pulling out to pass while you're turning left,
yeah, trying to turn left into your driveway,
which
so.
happens
shouldn't.
to us on a regular basis.
yeah.
So anyways, I just told him, he said he'd talked to Lance, I just said, well, I'll bring it up on Wednesday, and I
Yeah,
think
they
he said
didn't-
his wife was gonna submit
They
something,
didn't
but
talk to me, they turned in
a letter.
So, and I was gonna have our sign crews just double stripe it. So,
Okay, perfect.
hopefully I actually get that across. This is stretch.
Did you have any comments for tonight on any of our cases? I haven't seen
haven't had
anything.
time.
One of them's Wolf Creek, which you've already looked at because it's just, they had to go back to get it fixed. And then the other one is, Kodiak's. So I thought you might wanna put some stuff on that. If you have anything, just.
With Kodiak, I am so disgusted with him, I really don't wanna put any comments in, he'll just have to deal with them after the fact, so.
Okay,
Where's Cody at?
On 45th East,
he's the one that had done his plat, and then he came in and talked to you guys, cause you were buying the right of way, he hadn't finalized it yet, so he canceled it, so we could get paid for
paid
the
for the right
What's
of way.
his name?
Kodiak.
Ed, okay, I thought
Yeah.
you said Kodiak.
So there's those two, and then there's a, one on Iona Road for CBI off-road, and then a gravel pit expansion out
I didn't have anything.
at
for those.
HK's pit, so, yeah, I just wanted to check to make sure we weren't missing anything.
I wanted to make some comments on Kodiak's, but I didn't.
Okay. All right,
You
You can
should
call me
make
later.
comments
Yeah.
on what's going to be
I'll
expected.
probably be back
So
over later,
nothing
so I'll
has
just
changed.
talk to you or call you. Yeah,
But nothing has changed from what was previous.
He needs to understand what you're going to expect, one way or the other, in
Yeah.
the comments.
And so the comments that were there from before are still the same ones?
just use the
I had?
ones from last time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
we'll do
There's
that.
nothing new.
just out of fairness to it.
Yeah, no, I'll just tell Michelle to put those in there for tonight, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
Thanks.
thank
And
you.
he had it so close to actually being there before he figured out he wasn't gonna get compensated for it. It's like, this is just a game. So,
We had a discussion about a four-way stop of 45th East, 49th South,
yes,
where we have four-way stops at all the other intersections on 49th, but not at 45th, which is the last crossroad. And Lance said that he has to do a traffic study before he says, yeah, we need one, but we can just say, yeah, we should have one there because it's the logical thing to do. All the rest of them are four-way stops.
well, does he think it's logical?
there are disadvantages to a four-way stop there.
Which are,
Non-compliance, more non-compliance. Right now,
So what you're saying is a disadvantage is the people who would have to stop if it was a four-way stop will take a while to learn it's a four-way stop so that they stop there.
yes,
And
well, I'm.
right now, the people who are stopping and then pulling out thinking that traffic is gonna stop are at risk because we're ingraining in them a pattern that all those intersections are four-way stops, and then this one they stop at and it's not a four-way stop.
That happens all around, and it came from, and a lot of these four-way stops happened before we even took office, and that was the caution they had. is-
But we just added,
No, I know,
and the same
But where-
group is saying,
but where do
okay,
you
you
stop?
said, well, right there, it's the last one.
well, it won't be the last one.
It's, my personal feeling is we really should have a four-way stop there because I
Because
really
the
don't
four,
like bad accidents.
well, the four-way stop, I mean, the traffic is going north and south, they stop on this side anyway. So new traffic is on the ones going north and south. I mean, that's where you're changing the pattern as much as anything. And I'm not,
No,
I'm not
I-
arguing that it may not be needed, but
So the 49 South and Ammon Road, Ammon decided to put that four-way stop in. And so they put those other two LEDs in. They made that decision because it was adjacent to the city of Ammon. The one at 49 South and Holmes is the one that we've got in the program to do through a traffic signal, and that RFP is out now. We'll be working with LTAC to select the requirement for that
Right.
fairly soon. The one at 25th East and 49th South, that's essentially the city of Idaho Falls and the city of Ammon again. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a four-way stop, so,
okay, but this one up here, is that the one by the utility or the power
yeah, there's a,
plant?
I think there's a
house?
substation right there, and
It's
it
off
goes
to the
up
side,
into
and
the
there's a
subdivision.
house off on the other side.
So,
Yeah.
because I've
But
questioned
there's a
visibility.
lot more growth in Comora than there was when that stop sign setup was originally set up.
How long
And
does
a
it
lot
take
of
to
that
do a
traffic's
traffic
going,
To,
It's just getting
this
it on
time
the
of year,
list
we
so
can
that it
actually
gets
get a
done.
traffic count fairly soon and go through it and do it. All winter long, it's very difficult to get traffic counts. So we can get out there and
It's
get the
possible
traffic counts.
It's better to get that done, because it's not gonna delay it that long. My gut says it's probably gonna qualify because of the growth out there, Woodland Hills.
And it could. I mean, it's just, again, for me to do it, I
Yeah.
try to
Then
follow
it becomes
those.
a judgment call. If it's close, we can just say, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
But if it's this far apart, I don't think it will be, but if it is, you have a tough time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you kind of set a precedent for anybody who requests a four-way stop to come in and say, you know, let's just do it, because
Mhm. I will get a traffic count going out there.
you can probably get that done in a couple of weeks.
Anything else?
Because we've had a list of those type of requests just because about this long. That's why you try to set some kind of boundaries on it.
Okay.
We done? Cable's done.
how's the,
They wanna just
who's doing your cleaning up there?
High-tech cleaning?